Good evening. My name is Dawn Miller. I'm President of Legal Services of New Jersey, known to most of you as LSNJ. And we're the coordinating body of the 6 programs that make up the statewide system for delivering free civil legal services to low-income people in New Jersey. We are gathered here tonight, as we have done annually for nearly 40 years. Our first, hard to believe, our first Equal Justice Award was presented in 1983. We do this in order to honor the many volunteers who provided thousands of hours of free assistance to New Jerseyans who are unable to afford a lawyer. We also recognize and celebrate those who have made valuable contributions to the mission of advancing justice for low-income people. I want to thank you all for attending tonight. Thank you to our many sponsors for their generous donations.
It's my honor to be here. Believe it or not, there was a moment in time, and a number of you in this room know it, when the very existence of legal services was threatened. Budgetary issues, and it was a crisis, and the debate raged fiercely. Look, there were plenty of folks on the left who were arguing. There weren't enough folks on the right, and I think it's actually even more incumbent upon those of us on the right and as conservative Republicans to remind folks that you have no right to call a system a justice system unless there's access to all. That is about as fundamental as it gets.
Good evening to our crusaders of justice, our change agent champions, our vanguards of virtue, the woke warriors, and the system disruptors. It is an absolute honor to be here with you all this evening. My mother and my father are both civil rights activists. So yes, I fight for social justice. Yes, I fight for equal rights. It's just a part of my DNA, and it's been a part of me from the very beginning of my life. It is who I am. I cannot help it. I want to fight for each and every one of you. I want to fight for our friends, for our families, and for our colleagues. I want to continue to empower the next generation, and I want to inspire you when you leave this room to think about young people and ask them, how are you going to make an impact on the next generation? Because it's all about them. Whether we're fighting for the environment, whether we're fighting about housing rights, whether we're fighting about health care for all of our families and friends. It is about us in this room spreading this energy that we have harnessed here out into the world. And so I say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you and for this recognition this evening. May God bless you, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with each and every one of you.
Tonight, as we do every year, we honor invaluable contributions of private and corporate lawyers who continue to so generously offer their time, effort, energy, and expertise to take on one or more cases for low-income clients in need. We are committed to honoring, supporting, and sustaining our volunteers who provide this pro bono service, and hope all of you honored this evening will continue to partner with our programs across the state, and perhaps also urge your colleagues to join you in this important work.
The great majority of civil legal problems faced by New Jersey residents living in poverty are matters relating to essential needs, securing an actual place to live, securing critical government benefit such as food, and helping those who are challenged with disabilities, benefits that will help sustain them and their families. For those who simply need help to exist, it might mean cash assistance to purchase clothing, food supplies, or other basic necessities. The need is great, and the struggle to provide equal access to justice continues with urgency. The lawyers we recognize tonight voluntarily chose to play a critical role in meeting that need and supplementing the efforts of legal services staff. Tonight's Equal Justice Medals and Pro Bono Contributor Awards are divided into 3 separate groupings: major contributors, significant contributors, and exceptional contributors. But our 4th category, totaling nearly 320 attorneys, recognizes attorneys who have volunteered and taken on at least one case over the past year. Our next category of awards are for exceptional and significant contributors. An exceptional contributor category of medals is for those individuals who have, in 1 year or over a number of years, made extraordinary pro bono contributions to their affiliate programs.
The next segment of the evening will be to celebrate the 15th anniversary of LAMP.
I couldn't do this, and we couldn't do this job without everybody from LAMP, from our staff attorneys to administrative assistants, paralegals, interns. Everybody serves such an important role, and I always say we are a family, and I'm grateful to Dawn and to everyone on the LAMP team.
There's so many people to thank tonight, some that are here with us, some you saw on video: Darrell, Terry, Bob Margolis, Carla Hollis, Dr. Rosenblatt, Dr. Dibben. But I have to stress that we wouldn't exist and wouldn't be at Legal Services without David Mebane. Right.
16 years ago, Ellen Cohen, a residency program director at North Beth Israel Medical Center, came away from a NPR radio program about something called LAMP, which you've all just heard a lot about. And she went to the office of Darrell Terry, who you've heard about, and Dr. Rosenblatt, said, "We have to have one of those." So the medical center immediately grabbed onto that. It was very a lot of enthusiasm. And then we met Dawn Miller, and later we met Stacey Bussel. And after a lot of meetings and a lot of discussions, there was a LAMP program. And as you can see, we've spread to 4 other locations, and we're hopeful to continue that expansion. You know, it's a remarkably simple concept that in conjunction with a patient's medical providers, legal services can be utilized to promote and improve a patient's medical care or situation in life and make overnight improvements to a patient's quality of life and health. LSNJ's wide range of services and the talent, as you've heard, of the collective group of attorneys, paralegals, and so on, have made all of that possible.
We live in a very difficult time. You all know that. We don't unite on anything. Republicans and Democrats don't talk to each other. People are so divided sometimes within families, they don't talk to each other. People in general have little respect for any institutions at all. It's a very, very difficult time. And I think sometimes in difficult times you go back and look at people who surmounted those kind of issues in their own time. When I appointed Mike Cole to be my counsel, I never asked him whether he was Republican or Democrat. I didn't care. I knew he was Mike Cole. And that's what I wanted. I wanted the kind of person you just heard about. So I think if you look back to a person like Mike and try to see what he did in his bipartisan work, in his work from the heart, somebody who cared so very much about the most important issues before the state and before its people, somehow we've got to take that as an example and get back to that kind of person. John Kennedy said once, you know, it's people. Every problem we have was created by people. So the only way we can solve them is by getting good people. Mike Cole was really good people.
When I was preparing the words for tonight, I kept trying to think of ways to sum up my father's life, and I kept coming back to one thought. Never will you meet a man who more faithfully lived his values each and every day. The man that you heard about in this video, the man that you worked with in more public spheres or professional spheres, is who he was personally. He was the same man even in his most private moments. As his daughter, he taught me by example to choose the right over the convenient, to always act with humility and compassion towards others, and to be truthful in word, thought, and deed. He believed deeply in the goal of equal justice for all. Too often, he said, it is easier for the poor to just give up or avoid the fight, simply because there was no one there to help them against a seemingly more powerful adversary. He wanted to make sure the impoverished always had an advocate to whom they could turn in times of legal peril. And he worked tirelessly to inspire others, like everyone here, in that fight. I will close by thanking Legal Services of New Jersey, the Board of Directors, and the many esteemed contributors here tonight, not just for this award, but for the important work you do every single day to provide equal justice to the disadvantaged in New Jersey. As my father said and encouraged, stay in the fight. This is a just and noble cause, worthy of our courage and our determination.
I ran for state office more than 50 years ago, and I've known wonderful, wonderful people in and out of state government ever since. Joe Rodriguez and Mike Cole are probably the two finest people I've ever known in or out of government, both of them. And I knew the kind of work he'd been doing. We had in those days a public advocate. And I thought, well, Joe Rodriguez has been a public advocate without the title, so why not make him do it officially? Which I did. And he turned out to be a wonderful public advocate. And interestingly enough, he had such a personality, he'd sue people. You know, public advocate was even suing fellow members of the cabinet from time to time. But Joe was so sincere and such a wonderful human being, nobody ever took it badly. He said, oh, Joe's suing me, all right. But this was and is a wonderful, wonderful man, and I couldn't thank you more for giving him this award. It's nothing. We've had a lot of awardees over the years. Nobody has deserved it more than Joe Rodriguez. So thank you very much.
After such generous remarks, I'm sure what's going through your mind is the best thing he could do is just sit down. Which I have every intention to do. I mean, there's so many thanks that I can state from here. I had a few words written down, but as the evening developed, I realized that the most important thing I can do is to thank the committee that was so generous in nominating me for this award. And the other is to thank those who came and took the time to be here. Governor Kean kind of really struck a note, because going back to the history of legal services, the time when the water was not in a position to favor legal service, there were those who stood up and came forward and were willing to put their names on the line to do what was important to aid the homeless. You saw them speak here tonight on the film, and they're here tonight. Pete O'Connor and Carl Biscayne, who are all the way in the back of the room, who were the authors of the Mount Laurel opinion, and that came out of Camden. And so much came out of Camden. There was a lot that had to be done. I never dreamed that one afternoon I would receive a call from a candidate, not of my political party, asking for a meeting if we could just chat. And we did. And that person was Tom Kean. And I was privileged to serve in his cabinet. And I can say it was a great experience because of all the calamities you hear about politics. I can say that we had a term without a single scandal because of the leadership of Tom Kean. And I was proud to work with him at that time. So you can see that the best thing I can do is not to try to expand on anything that's been said because I just can't do it. I'm overwhelmed by it. But to give thanks to those who made it possible to spend all that time working for good causes. And they accepted the good causes. And I'm speaking about my family who are here tonight. I have 4 daughters, Lisa, Barbara, Joanne, and Kristen. And my wife, Barbara, of 69 years of marriage. There are 2 here who supported me going back to the 60s, and that's Carlos Ortiz from Goya and Carl Poplar that you saw in the film. That's the support that you need. But having a wife of 69 years, we're both over 90, and we still get along great. She laughs at my jokes. And I said, when she stops laughing, we may be in trouble. It's because that laughter is the glue that keeps us together for so many years. But no, really, I don't want to take any more of your time. I think if you can accept what you've heard, and for me, it's a moving occasion because members of the judiciary are not permitted, obviously, to be involved in politics. But there isn't a day goes by when I take the bench that I don't in my heart thank Tom Kean. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, especially all the honorees and volunteers. And I'd like to thank the sponsors of tonight's event for your generous donations. Thank you to the incredible LSNJ staff that has made this evening possible. We've come a long way. You've heard 56 years of legal services in the state. We have a long way to go as well to make sure that there's access to lawyers for everyone, regardless of their ability to pay. But I hope tonight has inspired you all to continue walking the journey with us.